Morning. Just want to say thank you again for all your support and your prayer support, and the time that we were away was amazing. Many of you will know that we rely on people's prayers for safety and health. I think we all felt that while we were there daily. It's really important. I've forgotten the clicker, sorry. Okay, this is still the Global Challenge logo. I apologise to people that have been trying to change it for 2 years and update it. But this was this was the vision for Global Challenge when it was set up in 2007. And I just thought it was really important today. I've been following the Tear Fund Lent devotions over the past weeks. And one of the days last week, I read this. When there is a growing gap between rich and poor, there is a growing gap between humanity and divine will. The way of Christ is to call this out. It is to redress the balance. It is to fight for justice. This is why the church exists. And this is why Global Challenge exists, to close that gap. But from our recent visit, I want to suggest that I personally have another balance to redress, and I believe it's probably something that Global Challenge has to redress, and maybe Queen's Road Baptist Church. And following on from Maggie, you'll appreciate this, but we had an amazing time on our visits to Crossroads School. But I have to say that before I went, and while I was there were many times when I just felt overwhelmed. There is just so many challenges there for those youngsters and other families that I just wondered how on earth we were going to keep this school going for them. And yet I didn't want to let them down. Even before we went out, we knew that they were already starting to worry about exam fees. How were the Senior 4 students going to pay their exam fees? And I think it's going to be at least 6 months, 9 months before they do their exams. And that's one of the things the trustees wanted me to ask while I was out there. How are we going to manage paying for exam fees? But actually, I didn't ask the question when I was there, because the first time we were in the head's office, he told us about one S4 student that had come to say, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know why I'm going to be here this year, because I know I won't be able to afford the exam fees. And the head said to her, why are you worrying? If you had said that when you were in S1, you would have said, I don't know how I'm going to manage throughout school. And now you're in S4, so keep praying. And that really, really spoke to me. And another time, Ange and I were visiting. I think I mentioned before Christmas about Barbara, somebody that Sue Eastwood met in 2006, was the first beneficiary of a wheelchair. She was baptized before Christmas, and we were so excited, and I really wanted to meet her again. So Ange and I met her on the Sunday morning before the service, and she's a gorgeous young lady. But she was saying to Pastor, I didn't want to come to church today. I was really angry. I didn't want to come to church. And the reason being that she is being abused at home by her mum. And Ange and I were saying, we need to get her out of the house. We need to get her this. We need to get her to a day centre. We need to get her clothes. And when Abraham came along, we said, this is a real dire situation. And he said, yes, we need to pray for her mother, that she would be saved. And again, we were silent. And that is what I think I've been thinking about over the past few weeks. We need to redress that balance. Not that we do nothing, because prayer goes with action. But we need to have that balance of prayer and remember that our God is so resourceful. Remember Dave King saying when we needed a new building, my father owns all the cattle on 1,000 hills. Why are we worried? And here we are. The balance. And I was just thinking, I want to do so much more for these youngsters. They are so beautiful. I want to do so much more. But I don't know how we're going to actually even keep the school going. But then those guys, they just go from day to day. They are just so appreciative of whatever you're doing. And the lunches was a huge thing. The fact that we are providing school lunches, and no other schools are doing that, has meant that, and we haven't raised our school fees, it's meant that the new S1, the new enrolment, is 91 students. So we've got 91 students in one class. And they're just so appreciative. So thank you for what you're doing with the Lent activity. But I just take a lesson from them. They love being at Crossroads. They appreciate everything. They're so happy, and they pray. And I just want to show you a little video of what happened to me before I was abducted and taken to the Student Union prayer meeting and actually bolted in. Okay, this is the balance.
Another style. Another style. Yes.
It was indeed such a joy to be able to reconnect. And the main purpose of the special needs side of our project was to reconnect with our coordinator, Billy, with the volunteers as well as the families that we've supported in the past and who we continue to work with. We had the joy of sharing resources and gifts that had kindly been donated by schools and by sponsors. So we were able to give out dresses that were made from pillowcases, distributed to deserving families that were known at New Life Baptist Church. Blankets and knitted baby clothes were handed out to the special needs children and their families. Pens, felts, pencils were given by Upton Junior School for us to pass on to Crossroads School, to the special schools and to the children that we met on our visits. A lot of the time we do try and support the economy, so it's not something that we would necessarily be looking to do again and again, but it was what we had collected over the 4 years. The children and the young people also at, it's not moving on for me, but oh, here we go. That moved on, thank you. Children and young people at Cherry Tree Special School in Margate had actually raised money at their school fair and were keen to directly be involved in the Special Needs Project. And their school council decided to donate their hard-earned cash to the Livestock Project. They were keen to buy a pair of goats to support a special needs family. But the head teacher and the deputy were so proud of the pupils that they too donated to GC, so that we had enough to buy 4 goats. That was amazing. We were delighted. But when we got there, we delivered 6 goats because actually we are always dependent on the volunteers, the people there that know how to use the resources that we've given to actually make things go further. So we were able to support 6 families because, again, the people that bought the goats decided that actually, while there's another goat next door, on the home next door or on the compound next door, you only need 1 goat because that will find that other goat and then we'll have lots of baby goats. So that school were able to give everything that they had done, and we were able to, with God's grace, give so much more. And then we have a photo here of John in his wheelchair, and he's benefited from the Special Needs Project. He's actually had 2 wheelchairs because he keeps growing. He looks like such a lovely young man now, rather than the little boy that I remember at his primary school. And he received 1 of the goats. And he is going to then be able to help support himself because he wants to be a shoemaker. And he actually made a beautiful pair of flip-flops, we'd call them, he made one of those. So I've ordered mine to go and get in about a year's time, I'm hoping, size 6. They look lovely. So he's been able to use, he will be able to use any of that income generation to able to be buying some of those materials. And also, we have Martha here, and Martha, unfortunately, her house actually collapsed onto her wheelchair. But again, because of thinking about the best way of using the money, the funds that we're able to raise here, Billy has been able to buy wheelchairs at a cheaper rate, and therefore we've already got a wheelchair there ready for Martha to have a new one. And then the other slide shows us the 2 special schools that we were able to visit. We hadn't actually met Miriam before, but Miriam started school in June, I think it was, wasn't it? She unfortunately became blind at this stage in her life. She was doing really well at P7 in the mainstream primary school when unfortunately illness took her sight from her. So we've been able to, with support, be able to give her the education at St Francis School for the Blind. We were also delighted to see the 4 children who've returned to Angora School. They're doing so well in their primary provision, and to see them, to meet with the head teacher and to find out about the other children that have already graduated, they've finished their work there. And so we're praying for the 3 boys who did so well with tailoring there and with carpentry and bricklaying, because we would like to be able to continue to support them in their future careers now, but also to pray for the school as the head teacher is actually retiring next year. And so we want to pray that the love and the care that is shown at that school continues with the new leadership there. So thank you again for everything that you're doing. And Mrs. Mason will tell me off if I don't remind people that we've only got a week left before you can start eating your chocolate, drinking your wine, whatever it is, in order to continue with, again, any financial support for all these amazing things. And as you can see, that little bit is making such a difference to these lives. So we're just giving glory to God for what he has done with everything. Thank you. Thank you.